So how do you make yourself a brand? So firstly, what is the definition of being a brand? So there's a Wikipedia definition about how personal branding is a conscious and intentional effort to create and influence people's perception of an individual by positioning them as an authority in a certain field and industry. But that's a very, very specific kind of personal branding in the sense that you can only be an authority in the specific industry. It's only for people that are leading that industry. But actually, we all are personal brands. And each one of us has got our own little brand. And we've got to be able to see ourselves as something important in life. A lot of people believe they don't deserve to be a brand. How come people don't think that they're not deserving, that they don't deserve to be something important, that they aren't something unique and individual and beautiful in themselves, and how they can, as an individual, fit into the bigger scheme in life? I mean, I never always believed myself. I started off very negative on myself for the first 40 years of my life. I thought that I would never achieve. There was nothing great about it. There's nothing fantastic about me. On the sporting field, I do exceptional things, but never believed that there was anything great. Whatever I did, I always thought was never good enough. And whilst there's a part of certain people that actually use that as an inspiration, in other words, they don't believe that anything's good enough, but it's a perfectionist kind of attitude. I'm not talking about people that want to be perfectionists. I'm talking about people that just don't believe in themselves, that are so negative and knock themselves down. So why do you have to sit like me and wait 40 years to actually achieve something in life, to actually start believing yourself and start enjoying life properly? You can start doing it at a much earlier age. And if you are already 40 or over, why don't you start now? There's no point in waiting for any longer for you to change your life and actually become more positive and more out there and actually be able to achieve more in your life. And I'm not saying more out there in the sense that you have to be extroverted compared to introverted. No, you've got to believe in yourself and actually achieve your goals and work towards what you really, really want to do as an individual, in the business space, in the personal life, wherever you want in life, you can achieve if you start believing in yourself and your intentions. And I'm not talking about changing yourself completely. I'm talking about enhancing what you currently have, because we all are fantastic within ourselves. So a lot of people see that branding as something like a company or a product, and why would you actually do that and turn that on you and make you look at yourself as a brand? Aren't you like a company? If you look at yourselves, if you break down what a company is or a product is, and you change some of those words, that you're actually talking about yourself. If you go out looking for a job, don't you need to advertise yourself to somebody? Don't you need to show that you are better than somebody else in that position? Pick me kind of option, that you need to get that position in the company. When you go to find your friends, don't you look at them and say, this is who I am, this is what I am, accepting for who I am, and they accept you? Isn't that selling yourself too? Isn't that making yourself a brand? This is who I am, this is what you're going to get when you become a friend of mine. That is just a brand. You are a brand. So everybody does branding in various ways throughout their lives. It's just, yes, we call it something different. And in my case, I call it branding, a personal brand. And we need to grow the side of ourselves. We need to grow our brand so we can actually be happy with what we are. Because often, I mean, like in my case, people saw a lot more in me than what I saw myself. You can grow yourself and actually get other people to see. Well, firstly, you get yourself to see who you are and how great a person you are. And then you show that to other people. You can show it more willingly to other people. Instead of actually even getting them to dictate to you how you meant to act and what, if you want to fit in with them, this is how you meant to be. You can actually turn around and say, well, listen, if you want me to be a part of your group, if you want me to accept me, this is what you've got to accept in me for me to be part of that group. And if you don't accept that, well, there are other people out there that are willing to do that. So you don't have to sell yourself short. More specifically, why don't we believe that we deserve anything in life? So now in here, if you actually register for my Patreon link, and more generally talking now, it's like life, society in general have got certain things you have to conform to. And since not all of us and everybody actually doesn't conform to anything in life, there's no person that perfectly fits that tick mark. Why do we not believe that we actually deserve anything in life? So why don't we feel like a brand? Why don't we feel important like a brand? And that's a society thing where society tries to knock us down. They try and say that you need to conform to a society, to look in a certain way, to act in a certain way. And I was actually watching a program on TV the other day where they said that in England, they set who the average English person should be. And they couldn't find anybody in the entire survey that actually fit that norm. They created this norm and they never found anybody. And they interviewed thousands of people and worked with thousands of people. And they couldn't find anybody that fitted in with that norm. So why do we have to conform to this norm that doesn't exist? And I must admit, today we have broken down the racial barriers, language barriers, gender barriers, religious barriers, anything that can stop you from being who you are and what you are. Because if you're not this religion, or you're not that gender, or you're not this race, you can't do a certain thing. And nowadays this has been broken down. Yes, there's a lot of work to be done there, but we are breaking it down. So you can be whoever you want to be. You can be however you want to be. Do whatever you want to do. You can achieve in life. So don't let anybody hold you back. Another thing that stops us from being a personal brand is that we all believe that we're just another brick in the wall. We're just part of another link in the chain, and it's just another link. But why don't you make yourself the link? Why don't you make yourself an important link? Why don't you make yourself a link that you enjoy to be in this wall? Why do you have to be that Pink Floyd's brick in the wall? Why do you have to be boring like that when you can actually be something bigger and better than as that brick? Without changing huge amounts, you can be bigger and better as that brick itself. So work on that personal brick of the wall and try and change life. And this is what I'm going to be going through. This is what I'm going to be going through my journey, how I made my journey, why I'm still making my journey, because it's a journey that you make all the time. Where I've learned, who I've learned from, books that I've read that have helped me. And often, like you'll see also in my case, that people use different terms for the same thing, but they're actually saying the same thing. And a lot of these things they're talking about go back to biblical days, where there's certain things that if you read in the Quran or you read in the Bible, you just look at teachings from various religions around the world, and they all tell you, you've got to be more like this, you've got to do that. These are things that we've known for hundreds of years, thousands of years. And I mean, at the moment, the self-help kind of industry, even though personal branding, as I said earlier on, is not completely self-help, is a $13 billion industry in America. There's a lot that can be said out of it, where people are saying the same thing to try and encourage you to come out of yourself, to be the better version of yourself, not the better version of somebody else, the better version of yourself. So I'll go through different steps in what you can do, what you can't do, what I believe in, what I don't believe in. And you can buy into it, you can not buy into it, you can be happy with what I say, you can find it interesting, you can find it not interesting. You can follow the same journey that I did, you can follow a different journey to the one that I'm doing. You can change your own life, you can become a better version of yourself. And that's what people are trying to do in the self-help industry, or personal branding industry, or any kind of business industry or anything like that, is trying to get you to be the bigger and better and a far more successful version of yourself. So if you want to follow this journey, if you want to carry on listening to what I have to say and listen to this specific speech that I'm talking about, you can subscribe to my Patreon link and listen to it in more detail. And I'll go through all these different questions and answers that I've currently been talking about. And you can come up and you can understand what I'm trying to work on.